disasters happen, man. Sometimes they do. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. This is Write on SC on Saturday morning, December 12th. And we were talking about literary devices, and I mentioned my favorite is the high fidelity top 5 list.
Mm-hmm.
I like when you can take something
that only works for that book.
For that profession. That's what I was about to say. I like when you take something out of somebody's profession and you make it part of their psychosis, right? Like part of the way they process information. So we watch a show called The Good Doctor, and the Good Doctor's main character is autistic. He's on the spectrum, and he has these images that float through the scene that show you his brain patterns, like how he's thinking things. And Sherlock did that too. The Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock movies did that too, where they would show you what he was envisioning going to happen, and then they would let it happen. So I think if you can take somebody's profession and build in a device where that profession is so much a part of who they are, that the device is how they process information or how they store information. If somebody's a librarian, maybe she's always putting things in alphabetical order, things like that, where I think that's a good device. Just going to put that out there.
All right.
Professions.
Again, but it can be overdone.
Always, yeah. I think devices need a certain amount of self-discipline and constraint. Yeah. I started after December with Brian having a counting thing where he would count things. And then I realized I didn't want that to be his character. I didn't want him to spend a lot of time in that particular way. So instead I had him noticing things, and he would sort of make an inventory of the room around him, and that room inventory became how I described the room. So he wasn't necessarily counting things in the way that you have somebody that's OCD counting things, as much as he was inventorying what it was around him. And inventory requires that you say there's 2 mouses, two computer mice, 3 microphones, that kind of thing. Have you used any devices like that as character devices?
Sort of. In the current book that I literally just finished yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was his finger coming through on the screen.
That's yesterday. Part of it is epistolatory, because we have the long dead, whatever.
Epistolary.
Sorry, this thing is getting on my nerves. Yeah, well, I have there's one of the characters, the main characters, is dead. He's been dead since the 1920s. Mm-hmm. So we learn more about him through her looking up his Wikipedia page. Okay. Right.
Who wrote the Wikipedia page?
Huh? Oh, he's a serial killer.
So did he write his own Wikipedia page?
No,
he's been dead since the 1930s.
Right.
So who authored the Wikipedia page?
I don't know who authors Wikipedia pages. They appear out of nowhere.
Just wondering if that's a detail that might be useful.
And then, well, it's the Wikipedia page. And then we cross-reference it against his own journal.
Okay. I think Wikipedia would be a fantastic device.
Right.
Yeah, especially now that Wikipedia is fully established, websites are fully established, they're not going anywhere, they're going to be around for a while. Yeah. I think the idea that you could use Wikipedia, gosh, now all of a sudden I'm like, time travel novel, of course we're going to use Wikipedia for everything. Right. All right, we've gone here, this has been our 4-minute behind the scenes. Thank you so much for joining our program today. Thank you for being patrons. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your Saturday. We'll see you next week.